Hello everybody. Just thought it would be fun to jump on and do a quick video on how to make this adorable Christmas card. This card features our bundle called Stitched Stockings. It's an online exclusive that you can order right now. This is the stamp set that comes with it. It has a die set that comes with it. Not all the dies are on here because I'm going to show you some of the dies here in the video. And then this card was inspired by another demonstrator named Rachel Traudt, T-R-A-U-D-T. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. And I'm just going to quickly show you how I made this card. Our July stamp club, where we feature a stamp set every month during my stamp club, actually featured this stamp set, and I loved it so much I made a couple more, so I'm going to do a couple more videos to show you in addition to what we did for club. So what I thought I would do is, before I do any stamping or anything, is I'm going to just show you real quick some of the dies that we're going to use on this card. And this is the first die we're going to use. We're going to use that on a piece of white cardstock to punch out this piece here. Actually, I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute just so you can see what you get. And then we have some real red that we are going to use the holly berry die on. And when you finish that, you get these pieces here. And then we have some peaceful pine. I don't have a small piece with me, so we're improvising. And we're going to use, there's actually 4 different leaves you can use. So we're going to use this die here. All the leaves are the same, so that we get those 2 pieces there. The last die we're going to use is the actual stocking die. So we are going to use a piece of the designer paper that coordinates with this. The designer paper is called a Stitch Season 12 by 12, and we're going to use the stocking die. And when you cut that out, you then get that piece there. So I'm not going to cut all those out on camera, just so that the video isn't, you know, too long, because people tend to lose interest after a little while. And let me just move all this out of the way so I don't lose any of the dies. I'll just stick them over there. All these little pieces that I've already cut out. And then we'll get started on actually making the card. I just want to show you how quick and easy this is. So we are using another piece of the designer paper here. Isn't that pretty? This reminds me so much of my mom. My mom would have loved this entire suite. It's pretty on the other side too, but she would have loved this quilted look because she was an avid quilter. And so let's see if I can figure out how to keep the card somehow in the picture while we do a little stamping. The only stamping we need to do on this card is the words. And I have already cut out a banner die from one of my favorites, the favorite I talk about all the time, that's called Stylish Shapes Dies. Love it, love it, love it. It's been around a while. If you don't have it, I suggest you get it, because I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the near future they decide to retire it. And we are going to use our Peaceful Pine stamp pad. This is one of our new versions, so this is linen. And excuse my big hands here in the thing. So with our linen, sometimes you just need to give it a little twist and a little tap. And then we're just going to come in and stamp this right on our tag. With our photopolymer, I always use my foam mat. And you want to hold it down there for a couple seconds so it gives the ink a chance to expand and cover the whole entire stamp. I'll move that out of the way. So that is the only stamping we're going to do. The rest of this is really about assembling, because we've already cut out all the little pieces. And so let me put this off to the side, and we'll keep this as our workspace so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I have a piece of white thick cardstock. This is half of a sheet. I've cut it the long way and then scored it at 5.5 because I want it to be like a stand-up card, or one that opens like this. And I'm just going to take my bone folder and give it a good crease. And on top of that, we have a strip of the designer paper I showed you that is probably 2 inches wide, but I'm gonna just get my ruler out because it's not. 1 3/4 inches wide by 5.5 tall. And then I have a piece of real red cardstock that is probably 3/4 of an inch by 5.5. And this is just to tuck basically underneath here because we just want to give it a little edge. And so I'm going to take my glue, just do a few little dots along this edge here so that we can just set this in here. And then this goes on top of our card front. If you want any of the measurements for this, just comment on the video and I can make sure I post that information for you. So there we go. We've got that on the front of our card base. The next thing we've got is our stocking. And we've cut out that using the stocking die, and then we have the top of the stocking, which is also another die that we cut out in white. So we're going to adhere that. That was a lot of glue, more than I needed. That's okay. So we're going to add that. We're going to continue to build the stocking before we put it onto the card. So next I want to do is add our holly leaves. And you could use glue dots to do this. You could use snail. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. Just being careful to not put it on the perforated line so it doesn't seep through. We're going to just add some leaves. This. And then we just need to add some holly berries. And so we're going to just add some glue to the back of the holly berries. And put that on there just like that. Next, we want to adhere this to the front of our card, and we are going to use some dimensionals. And I love me some dimensionals. It is my favorite embellishment. So we're going to use probably like 6 total. And if you aren't able to get these off with your fingernails, you can either use our take your pick tool or your scissors, or you can take your nail and just push it down in there and it lifts up the edge. It makes it really easy to come off. We're going to adhere that to the front of the card. And then we want to add our saying. We're just going to use a little bit of glue for that. Just kind of in the middle here, because that's the part that's going to stick over the stocking. And you're actually trying to get that on straight, even though the stocking is a little bit off center. Well, not even a little bit, quite a bit. And let's see, we've got our bow to add. So I have a piece of our, this ribbon coordinates with the whole suite, and it is called Real Red and White Stitched Ribbon. It's also an online exclusive, so you can find it as part of the suite if you look online for it. I've already cut a piece, so I'm going to just tie a little bow. And if you ever do any of my to-go classes, 99% of the time I tie your bows for you. There we go. We're going to trim off the excess. And I'm hoping that you can't hear my dog in the background because she's sitting next to me. She's licking her paws. She's not anymore. She knows she just got in trouble. Hopefully you couldn't hear that. She's my little helper today, and she's just hanging out with me in my room. So we're going to use a glue dot to put our bow on. And I like to just put the knot of the bow onto the glue dot and then carefully pull that off. Add that to the stocking. And last but not least are some embellishments. These are our 2026 to 2028 in color dots. So it's the Peaceful Pine. It matches the ink that we just used. And you'll see I have a little note in there that tells me that it's from the May catalog. So if you have the May catalog, you'll find, that's where you'll find them. You can also find them online. So we are going to get a large a large color dot to put up there. And I used a couple small, but I actually might change it up a little just so that I even out my usage. Oh no, I'm gonna use another small, never mind. Sometimes I use 2 large, sometimes I use 2 small when I'm using 3. There we go. And that is the finished card. Again, it uses the stitched stocking bundle. So there's a stamp set and a coordinating die set that goes with it. I absolutely love the dies. I'll show you some other cards with it. Like I'm gonna do another video. I'll give you a sneak peek of the other video that I'm going to do. This is the card that we're gonna do the other video. So that'll be coming up next. So hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, be sure to comment below, and I'm happy to be back on trying to get some videos going after it's been a little bit of a crazy and rough last few weeks. So hope you enjoy. We'll talk to you later.